Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Feels like evening. Good afternoon, ladies and gents. My name is Ivor.
My name is Jeff.
We are a company called Fifth Dimension, and we are delighted to be with you this afternoon.
Yes, a real pleasure to be standing here, and I am standing in case any of you were wondering. Slightly shorter than average magician.
So as I said, we're a company called Fifth Dimension, and we've been asked to talk about a different perspective on safety. We like to talk about safety leadership in particular, but we don't use PowerPoint. That's the only slide you'll get from us today. But we do have a different way of presenting. In fact, it's probably easier for you to show rather than me talk about it.
I thought you would never ask.
Go for it.
Let me show you what Ivor's talking about using the medium of ropes. 3 different ropes to be specific, a small piece of rope, a medium-sized piece of rope, and a large piece of rope. I'm just going to get some of these ropes checked. If you'd be kind enough to check the large piece of rope for me, sir. I'll give you the medium-sized piece of rope. I'll give you the small piece. Don't worry about the size. It means nothing. If you have a piece of rope, just give them a good stretch. Make sure you're quite happy. There are no magnets, no stud fasteners. The ropes don't stretch or shrink. It's normal ropes, the sort you find in any bedroom in Aberdeen. Obviously, I'm thinking pajama cords or curtain pulls, in case you are wondering. Quite happy with the ropes? Well, thank you very much indeed. We have a small, we have a medium, and lastly, the large. You shared it. That's lovely. There we go. Now, talking about safety, there are 3 main areas in safety. The first one is leadership, as demonstrated by the small piece of rope. The medium-sized one is all about systems, good safety systems and procedures. And the last one is about safety culture. It's important we have a good, strong culture at the heart of us and the organizations that we work with. So leadership, systems, and culture, all 3 equally important areas, although it looks as if one is more important than the other 2. I'm going to demonstrate they're all equally important by taking the safety leadership up to the top, the safety systems comes up to the top. As the safety culture comes up to the top, I've now proved these 3 areas are equally important because now all 3 ropes are the same size. Thank you.
No, they're not buying that.
No, you're not impressed.
No.
I can tell what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, hang on, Magic Boy, the ends are the same, we'll give you that. The middles are still different, which is technically correct. Until you take the middles and just split them in half round about there, give a little stretch, you do end up with 1, 2, or 3 ropes all the same size, whether in fact it's the safety leadership, the safety systems, or for that matter, the safety culture. And the last audience were so shocked, stunned, and amazed, they forgot to clap 2 at this point. Oh, thank you very much indeed. Wow, what an audience.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
This is a nice audience. Whiskey warms people up, fantastic. Now, some of you are maybe sitting there thinking, hang on, what on earth does ropes and magic have to do with safety? Well, if that's you and you're sitting there and you're not too sure just exactly where this is going, as we go through, you'll understand a lot more. By the time we get to the end of our very short session, you'll have a much greater understanding. In the meantime, any questions? No, how? Well, very simply and quite well, to be honest.
Yeah. So, as you can see, we like to present in a different way. Sometimes we'll do something that you sit and watch. Sometimes we do something that has 1 or 2 of you involved. And sometimes we do something that has everybody involved. Because let's face it, when it comes to safety, whether that's in the workplace, with our friends or with our family, it's everybody's responsibility. Everybody should be involved. And so we're going to do something that involves everybody in the room. And I'm going to ask you to do something that's going to stretch you both mentally and physically. But don't worry, if you can stand up, that's as physical as it gets. So can I ask everybody to stand up for me, please? Excellent. Now, this is very simple. I'm going to give you a simple set of instructions. Jeff and I will do the same exercise with you. And if you follow along and start at the same point, as we work through, we should end up at the same point as well. So this is very simple. Hold your hands in front of you like so.
You will need to put your whiskey down.
Yeah.
Apologies.
And now roll your hands into a fist. And then push your thumbs out like so. Now turn your hands this way.
Hey, it's a thumbs up for safety.
Yeah. I can feel the love in the room, Jeff. Yes.
I'm not sure if it's love or fear.
Now, this may confuse because we are a mirror image, but if you take your right arm and cross it under your left like so.
Yep, that's your right under your left.
Yeah.
Well changed.
A few changes going on, yes? Yep. And now turn your hands outwards like so.
And now Gangnam Style.
No. Oh. That moment has passed. And now turn your hands down so your thumbs point towards the floor. And then bring your hands together and clasp them so your hands are now twisted around each other and locked in position.
Yeah, and that's your joints that are cracking, but don't worry, it's completely normal, and we have a full medic on standby.
Now push your little fingers out. I'll turn sideways so you get the idea. And your thumbs down, okay? And those middle fingers, I'll just step forward to point out that these middle fingers, I know it's difficult, but they've got to be as tight as possible, just leaving the little fingers and the thumbs out.
Please hurry.
Oh, sorry. Now, wiggle your little fingers, and your thumbs, and your fingers, and your thumbs. And then on the count of 3, do exactly the same as Jeff and I. 1, 2, 3, just turn your hands over like so.
What? No.
No?
Just us.
Yeah, you were doing so well up until that point. I'll tell you what, unlock your hands and please take a seat for me. Please take a seat. But that looks impossible. It looks as though there's no way you should be able to get from that locked and twisted position into that open position just by turning your hands over. And yet Jeff and I managed to do that, and there's a good reason for that.
Yep, we cheat.
Yes, we cheat.
I mean,
no.
No.
It's simply we know how to do it. And it's like anything else. When you're looking at goals, objectives, targets, when you're looking at new ways of working, perhaps even new ways of thinking, it can seem as though this is, if not impossible, certainly going to be very difficult. But with the right training and learning, with the right knowledge and support, with the right behaviors, attitudes, leadership, systems, and culture that Jeff mentioned, things that might seem difficult or even impossible suddenly open up and become possible for you. And that's the type of thing that we like to explore in the little sessions that we talk about.
There's a business guru in America called Peter Drucker. Sadly, no longer living. He died about 9-10 years ago. And he came up with a phrase which we love as magicians, and hopefully you've worked out we're magicians that specialize in safety rather than just really weird presenters. He came up with the phrase, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I love that phrase when it comes to safety. In other words, if I'm standing in the present here, and if this is the future over here, instead of just crossing my fingers that I achieve that safe future, or hoping I achieve that safe future, Peter Drucker says the best way to predict the future is to create it. So we thought we would take you on a little journey with us using the tools of our trade. I will stand over here in the future with our special creation, and meanwhile I'll leave you with Ivor in the present.
And the tools of our trade, of course, being magicians, happens to be a deck of cards. These are slightly larger than normal, just so that people can see them a little bit easier. But all 75 cards are present and correct, as you would expect in a deck. But obviously what Peter Drucker is talking about in terms of creating that future is about having the right procedures and systems in place, as Jeff said. And then it's about the decisions we make within that framework, on a day-by-day basis, or sometimes on a minute-by-minute basis, in the situation that we're in. So we're going to recreate that by getting some of you to make some decisions for us, to help us towards the future that Jeff has. And we'll review those decisions as we go through the process so that we're actually absolutely sure that it's what we want to do. I'll just give them a little shuffle. And then, Jeff, would you choose someone to start us off?
Gentleman right at the very end in the first row. You can stay there. Don't worry, you don't need to come up.
Sir, I'm going to deal some cards down at the table like so. Now, this is not a numbers game, so you don't have to be counting them. All you have to do is when you've got a gut feeling and you think there are enough cards on the table, I just want you to say stop, okay? Stop there? Perfect.
Excellent. Good decision.
Excellent. Choose someone else.
Gentleman sitting right back, you've got something red on your top. Yeah, you.
Yes.
What's
Sir.
your name, sir? Alistair. Nice to meet you, Alistair.
Alistair, in about 5 minutes, you may look back on this situation and think, well, what would have happened if there had been more cards on the table? And the last thing we want in any given situation, particularly where safety is concerned, is that what if or if only scenario. So you and you alone get to make this decision, possibly changing the future. Do you want me to add any more cards? And if so, how many?
Yeah. That was step 1. Step 2, the number.
20. Thank you.
Thank you.
We only have 18 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Thank you very much.
Good decision, you all. Thank you very much.
Excellent. So we now have 20 plus something cards. Jeff, one more.
Someone else. Lady right in the very front row here.
Yeah.
Your name, madam?
Ioana.
Correct.
Ioana, in about an hour, you may well think back and think, well, hold on a minute. What would have happened if there had been less cards on the table? So again, to avoid that what-if scenario and possibly change the future, do you want me to take any cards back? And if so, how many? Don't say 21.
I'm struggling, but I'm going for 5.
5.
5.
Okay, perfect.
Good
1,
decision.
2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So we've ended up with an indeterminate amount of cards on the table. Let me get rid of these. Now we're going to eliminate some of these cards as well. And again, I'm not going to deal these out because, as I said, numbers are not important. So I'm just kind of randomly splitting them into 2 different bundles. Jeff, can I get someone to choose one for me?
Yes, lady, second end on the first row there as well. Your name, madam? Linda. Nice to meet you, Linda.
Linda, from my perspective, I have a right hand and a left hand bundle. Which one would you like me to take, the right or the left? The left? Okay, I'll just drag it towards me so I don't forget which one you mentioned. And we want to just review this one last time.
You, sir.
Sir, tomorrow morning, you may well waken up in a cold sweat. You're going to wipe your brows, you turn over in bed and think, what would have happened if he had taken the other bundle? So again, you and you alone get to make this final decision, possibly changing the future. Are you happy with the decision made, or do you want me to take the other one? I'm happy with the decision. You want me to take this one? Okay, I shall take this one away. Perfect. Now, we've been left with a bundle on the table, which I'll come to. The cards here that I've been asked to take away, obviously all different. The top one is the 8 of diamonds. But we've been left with a bundle on the table, and I want to kind of recap before we approach that, because some cards were dealt onto the table, some were added, some were taken away. A bundle was chosen for me to take away, and at the very last minute, that could have been changed, but it wasn't, just leaving this pile of cards here, the top one of which is the Queen of Hearts. And obviously, if you look underneath, all the other cards are different as well. So by working together, by reviewing those decisions, by moving towards the future, we've ended up... Why are you looking like that?
The what?
The Queen of Hearts.
Can I say, sometimes even with the best laid plans, things don't exactly work out the way that you expected them to do. I have the King of Clubs, he says, but thinking on my feet, it is a picture card, and the odds of getting 2 picture cards are odds of about 12 in 52, which is 1 in 4 odds, which isn't bad.
1 in 4 odds isn't bad. We're talking about safety, we're talking about people's lives, perhaps, and you're talking about 1 in 4 odds.
Well, no.
I mean, you've got to plan for the unexpected, because that does happen. You've got to plan for change and manage that change. You've got to have a contingency plan.
Well, you must always have a backup plan, otherwise you just end up where you end up. Peter Drucker said, from a safety point of view, the best way to predict the future is to create it. The future we've created just happens to be this one here, the Queen of Hearts. Please give everyone a nice round of applause that helped with that experiment.
You just got away with that.
Well, it was pretty close. So from a safety point of view, it's basically, it's not just all about the mind. We have to take our thoughts and then to step forward with these to make sure we have that safe future. We'd like to finish with one last experiment involving this, a little circle. What I'd like you to do, ladies and gents, is to focus on the very heart of this circle, just right down here. This is not hypnotic. You won't go into a trance or anything like that. But I want you to concentrate on the black dot right in the middle of the circle. So keep your eyes focused on the black dot. I will count from 10 down to 0. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep focused on the black dot in the middle. And now, look at my head. I have to say, at my height, I probably shouldn't be doing this experiment, to be quite honest. Let's try and look at, well, let's try and do this again. Focus again right on the circle right at the very middle. Oh, there we go. Focus on the circle. Whoa. There we go. This bit has just come undone, like so. Just tighten that nut. So focus on the black circle. It's going slowly. Keep focused on the black circle right in the middle. And again, I'm going to count down from 10 to 0. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now look at my head. Again. Quite interesting, and interesting how we're looking at exactly the same thing but see 2 completely different results. Very often, safety is used as an excuse, particularly in the United Kingdom. We've heard many different things of conker seasons being banned at schools because of safety reasons, or hash browns being banned from school canteens because one of the corners might be too sharp for the children to be able to chew on. And there's a lot of nonsense that's happened with regards to safety, but safety is important and we have to carry it at the very heart of us. The theme of today's presentations has all been, it's in the mind. It's all in the mind. And safety definitely is very much in the mind. It's what we choose to think about it. Like this last experiment, we can choose to look at safety and look at everything that's involved with it and just see it as negative and soul-destroying and basically locking everyone up in cages and taking away free choice. Or we can look at it in a slightly different way. We can see that over the many years as we've started to practice safer within our organizations, within our households, that we've actually seen accidents and injuries beginning to shrink. At the same time, we've seen health and safety and people's welfare expanding. So it really is how you look at it. But again, thinking slightly differently, nothing shrunk there, nothing grew. It was all in the mind.
And when you think about it, safety, as Jeff said, does begin in the mind, but it begins with us, with each of us, as an individual thought. And that safety leadership that we talked about at the beginning is everybody's responsibility. Leadership to us is not a position, it's a behavior. And those behaviors begin with those thoughts in our mind and then our actions or inactions, depending on how we see things. And therefore, if we want safe futures for ourselves, for our families, for our colleagues, we need to take a positive step forward and do things within ourselves that will then impact on everybody else around us.
Yep. Each one of us is responsible, each one of us is capable to create that safe future that Peter Drucker alluded to.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's been Jeff, I've been Ivor, we are Fifth Dimension. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.